Stop conflating emotion with femininity. Stop saying that having emotions is purely a feminine thing. Stop. It's so stupid. As well as the fact that emotional men are human. They're human. They're not weak. They're innately human. We are humans. We are humans. I'm going to go in. This isn't fully a response to a video I found, but I found lots of points to be very interesting that I'll talk about. It was interjecting some other points. Just using this as a slight base for it. First of all, stop trying to conflate emotions and bad things as just being feminine traits. It is such a vague description, just saying, oh, it's a feminine trait. Having emotions is a feminine trait. Shut up. It is so stupid and immature. They're saying things like caring about what others think is a feminine trait. No, that's a human trait. It's more an immature trait, though. It's not really a gendered thing. It's a maturity thing. You're simply going to care about it more when you're younger because of evolution. Evolutionarily, when you're younger, you're going to care more because it helps with tribes. It helps with getting people around you so you survive. If you want to look at this through a scientific way, it'd be like that. It's not because of your gender. It's not because you have more estrogen or whatever. No, it's just simply the way we as humans are programmed. There's also putting a lot of blame in this on his mother. Never talking about his father, however. Saying that if you fuck up and you're going to be ashamed of it, it's because of your mom. That is your experience. That is not everyone else's experience. As well as saying that because your mom said it, it was bad. But if your dad had said it, it would have been a good thing. I can kind of see in certain circumstances where that could work. Like if a man tells another man to man up, but if a woman does it, it can come as very different. Explain. Explain why it's different. Explain why when your mom does it, it's bad, or why your dad does it, it's good. Explain. Don't just say it. Don't just say such an outlandish claim. Actually back it up. Actually give some weight behind it. Elaborate. He puts so many there's common traits as being feminine traits, like embarrassment. Embarrassment isn't feminization. Like I said before, it is evolution. The reason why embarrassment hurts so much is because in like the earlier times of civilization, that could be lethal. That could be you're done. Like it could be you are done. You're gonna be an outcast for the rest of your life. That could be the end of your bloodline. That's why it hurts so much. That is why it can consume your mind so much. It's not because they're weak. It's because that's just the way humans are programmed. He also says very weird, very strange things like being a man is standing up even if you die. He even says, and I quote, "You might die." This isn't the goddamn Dark Ages. This ain't the 16th century. You're not gonna die. We're in most places, at least. We're not. A lot of the world doesn't have these issues anymore. These aren't things that are just gonna happen everywhere. And I know there's like this stereotype that in Africa or wherever, suicide is such a far off thing. Oh, they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to live. That's just false. I looked at the top 10 countries. I looked at the suicide rates for the 10 highest countries, I should say. Africa was for 5 of them. 5 out of 10 of them were in Africa. One of them was in Korea, another in Russia, others in Europe and Oceania or Australia. It's not this, oh, we are just too feminine. No, it's much deeper. There's much more things than that. Emotions don't make you feminine, they make you human. And saying that it's abnormal for a human or for a man to have emotions, what are you even talking about? Are you trying to just be a robot? We are people. People have emotions. That is okay. We just need to learn how to deal with them and manage them and figure out how to work through them. That's simply what it is. We have to work out how to deal with it. We have to figure out how to deal with it in a way that is not self-destructive, not with anger, or not with intense anger or intense sadness. We need to not let it bottle up until it just explodes. Because that's one of the biggest issues. That's one of the reasons why men have such a higher suicide rate. It's because we are forced to bottle it up so much. But you are now advocating for this bottling up. You are advocating for men to bottle it up and to say, no, you can't have emotions. No, that makes you a woman. That makes you weak. I know the dog whistle as well. By saying it makes you feminine, you're saying it makes you weak. Because what you're really saying is that if it's a feminine trait, it's a weak trait. It lacks control. It lacks civility. It lacks the ability to regulate itself. That's what the dog whistle really is. That's what you're really saying. You just don't want to outright say it. You're just using a very common dog whistle, though. So I'm not going to let you say these and not have someone call you off of them. As well as a title. It is very clickbaity. Saying just emotional men are weak. That is not at all what the video is talking about. It's talking about more parental abuse and generational trauma. Not really at all about emotional men. It talks a little bit about it, but you should definitely change the title. It is not talking about that. I can kind of get it being a little clickbaity. I do too sometimes too. It's simply the way YouTube works. But at least have it be somewhat more actually dealing with what the topic is at hand. You know? And just to close this off, you say that we need to forgive our parents so that we can move on. Like, go up to them and say it to them if they're alive. Not all parents deserve forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just given. Forgiveness is earned. You must earn forgiveness. You can forgive for yourself, but not forgive for them. In the words of the woman who helped me to who helped me move on from what happened with my parent, from one of my parents in my past. I'm not forgiving for you, man. I'm forgiving for me. Little Sim said it perfectly. There's a big difference between forgiving for them and forgiving for you. Forgiving for you is to just give yourself closure, just to let yourself be rid of it, which I think is what you're talking about. But you're asking to actually say it to them. You're then, in a way, kind of saying that it's okay. If you're not making them change, you're kind of saying that it's okay. And while, yes, you do ask for them to change, that is at least a little better. You shouldn't be then outright saying that I forgive you. The forgiveness should come at the end when they've actually earned it, when they've actually done these things. Not at the beginning. Because it's not about becoming more of a man. It could be argued like that. But also, I would say the same thing for a woman. It's the difference between being a girl and being a woman. Being a boy and being a man. You are finally maturing. You're becoming an adult. You're being able to move past your past and become your own person fully. That's what it's about. It's about maturity and just growing up. Not necessarily like saying just grow up. It's about finally reconciling with yourself and just moving on to the next chapter of your life. It's not about masculinity or femininity. It's just about maturity.